compete when I was looking to hire people for my first startup. We were a small company based out of Buffalo. We helped some large organizations with some of their biggest sales and marketing challenges using some technology. And we were in need of experts, people with years of experience. We were looking for people that could guide our customers with best practices, with ideas and ways that could help their businesses grow. But I had a problem. I couldn't find those people in Buffalo. And the people that I did find, I couldn't afford. So as a small company, as a one-person company, I had a choice. Either stay as a one-man show and let go of my dream of building a business with more people than just myself, or think differently. I had to figure out a way where I could find people that could help my customers, that we could build an amazing team with, and I could afford it. So, what I decided to do was widen my recruiting funnel. In other words, I decided to consider anyone and everyone to work at my company. Now, some of you may think that's crazy. Yes, my wife thought so too. But that was the only chance I had. If I was to succeed, I had to figure out a way to take lots of people that were interested in working at my company, that weren't necessarily the right fit, that weren't the experts that I was looking for, that did not have the years of experience that I really needed, and somehow figure out the ones who could be the right fit and train them. So in widening the funnel, I considered people. When I went to the grocery store, I would start chatting with the cashier to see if they were interested in working at my company. When I went to restaurants for dinner with my family, I would ask the server if they were interested in working at my company, and my wife would often kick me under the table. I talked to satellite dish installers. I talked to people that made sandwiches, pizza, you name it. For the people that I managed to convince that I wasn't some crazy lunatic trying to harvest their kidneys and sell them, they were interested and they decided to apply. Now, something magical happened. I actually had lots of people applying. And very quickly, I realized that my biggest problem wasn't going to be the talent pool, but my biggest problem was going to be figuring out who those right people were. So, to solve that problem, I came up with a case study. A case study that mimicked what an analyst at my company would do every day. How they would work with our customers, the kinds of problems that they would solve, the kinds of technologies that they would have to learn, and so on. Now, the case study consisted of 5 key elements. Number 1, every single person had to have an analytical mindset. They had to think differently. So, to find people like that, we gave people Sudoku problems. We gave people patterns that they had to understand and come up with solutions for. We gave people problems that may seem trivial or weren't, with no right or wrong answer, because we wanted to see how they actually thought through those problems. Number 2, we gave people problems that required them to be resourceful. Remember Pete? We gave him tasks where he had to digest a lot of material and find the right answers by being resourceful through those problems. Pete did really well. He was analytical. He also did an outstanding job learning, researching on Google and other places on the internet. Number 3, every single person on our team had to be experts at effectively communicating with our customers as well as internally. So, we asked all candidates what kinds of books they read, and to convince a room full of people to read those books. Now, why did we do that? Well, first, because reading books is awesome. But second, we wanted to know if they could could take lots of material from a book and actually digest that quickly and relay that back effectively to a room full of people and convince them to do that. So that was number 3. Number 4, our core offering as a company was expertise on a technology product. So we had to make sure that the people we brought on board were indeed capable of becoming technical experts. So we gave everyone a series of technical tasks, regardless of their background. Just to be clear, Pete did not go to school for computer science. Pete did not have an engineering background. Pete actually worked as a pastry chef for 11 years after dropping out of high school. When we gave Pete a technical problem, Pete excelled at it. Why? Because Pete had a tinkerer mindset. Pete was able to take things and dissect them and understand how they worked. That was fantastic. Because to be successful at my first company, we needed people like that, who could take problems and break them out into smaller problems and solve them. Number 5, we needed people that could handle rejection. We needed people that wouldn't give up, that would persevere, that would keep going. So what did we do? For the few that remained to get to this step, we actually told them to go back and try to solve one of the problems again, to see if they could do it better. Now, you may think that's really cruel when you were asking people to do so much, but that was really important because we wanted them to make informed decisions about their career just as much as we wanted to make informed decisions about our hiring. So when we told Pete to go back, he did. He did. And not only did he go back, but he actually excelled at it. He came back and told us how we could have done a better job in our case study, so that other candidates in the future didn't have to go through the pain that he did. That was fantastic. So we hired Pete. And Pete went on to do amazing things at our company. So, in essence, if you really summarize this, our hiring approach wasn't based on qualifications, wasn't based on checklists, wasn't based on education, wasn't based on expertise or experience. Our hiring approach was based on hiring for grit, the ability and the power to persevere, to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. We were looking for people that had been through life experiences that could persevere in this way. And we wanted to give anyone that applied a fair shot. Now, I just want to be clear, I didn't start hiring this way because I wanted to be righteous. The fact was, as I mentioned earlier, I simply couldn't find people, and I couldn't afford the people that I could find. So I had to think differently, and in doing so, I came across this model of hiring based on grit, where everyone gets a chance. The second thing I'd like you to note here is that a human didn't get to decide right off the bat by looking at someone's resume or comparing their resume to a job description whether that person would get a chance to demonstrate their grit, to demonstrate their ability to perform in that role. An algorithm didn't do that either. We had everyone follow a consistent process. So, in hiring based on grit, we hired 40 people like that at my first start. And it was amazing. It was amazing because the people that we hired helped us form such an amazing company culture, where everyone was vested, where everyone believed in themselves and believed in their team. It was incredible. So why am I here today? And why am I telling you these stories about my first startup? Well, first, I'd like each and every one of you to think about who you are and the life experiences that each and every one of you has been through, that have culminated you to get to where you are today. You have all been through experiences that have made you who you are today, and it is really important for you to recognize what those experiences are, just like Pete. When Pete dropped out of high school and decided to work in a pizza shop and finally as a pastry chef, taking the bus for 11 years, sharing an apartment with 4 other guys, those were life experiences that made him who he was. And those life experiences helped him excel at that case study we gave him. Every one of you here is unique in your own way. So it is really important for you to identify experiences like rejection. Have you run into situations when you tried to do something and you were rejected? Do you know how you persevered? Or did you not, without judgment to yourself? How about losing someone? Did you develop empathy in that process that you could take with you where you go next? Or how about ways in which you had to be resourceful, just like Pete, where you had limited resources and you had to make do with what you had to do? Finally, what about ways in which you had to solve problems by thinking outside the box, by being creative, by being analytical? Every single one of you here has those life experiences. And yet, the way in which you will go out and look for your opportunities, for internships, your first job, your second job, or grad school, will be based on this process that we follow. And the cornerstone of that process are resumes and cover letters. You are more than your resume. Just like Pete was more than his resume. And you have the power to do a lot more than what those checklists in those job descriptions say. So I'd like you to think about your life experiences, and I'd like you to think about how you have developed your grit, just like Pete did. I'd like you to think about being vulnerable in expressing those experiences to the hiring managers, to the companies, to the recruiters that you're looking for a job at, without worrying about the impact. Because in being authentic, in telling them about your life experiences, you're going to be able to directly correlate how you can do an amazing job if given a chance. Let me end by saying what happened with Pete. So Pete went on to become an MVP associated with that enterprise technology company that I was talking about. Pete has an incredible following on YouTube. Pete travels the world giving talks about that technology. And Pete has helped hundreds of people learn it and become experts at it. If a person who dropped out of high school, who worked as a pastry chef for 11 years, can take his life experiences and do amazing things and build an incredible career and provide for his family, I encourage you to think about how you're going to use your grit and demonstrate that to companies and make a difference in your careers. Thank you.